guys, sorry, I know it's been a while since I posted. I came down with the cold and that really incapacitates me. I don't know if it has something to do with my cerebral palsy or not. Maybe it's just me. Why don't you let me know in the comments below if it affects you that way, okay? Today I will be talking about my surgeries that I've had. Oh, and here's my cat, Bo. He's decided to grace us with his presence. You want to say hi, Bo? No, he's not going to. Anyway, I was diagnosed with CP when I was about 1.5 years. And I've had 3 different surgeries. And I've had multiple operations during each procedure, but I've only had 3 technical surgeries, and I've been casted, I believe, a number of 5 different times. I would like to mention that if you are a parent of a child with cerebral palsy or any other disability that might require some form of surgery to improve your child's quality of life, it's best to get them diagnosed, get them seen by a doctor, a surgeon, get the procedures done while they're still young. Now, I don't know the true technical reasons for these at all, but I'm assuming it has a lot to do with improving their quality of life before hormones hit and growth spurts, so it doesn't impede, height or things like that. Today I'm actually going to have some pictures to show you to give you an idea of before and after my surgeries, or really just before my surgeries, and there's a picture of me in a cast. But here's the first one. I was 4 years old, and I don't know if you can tell right here, but my feet are pointing inward, and it impedes walking. Now, the first procedure I had, it wasn't a surgery. I was a year and a half when I had this done. It was just putting casts on my legs to try and lengthen my heel cords, because my feet were so tight, the heel cords were so tight, that I was walking on my toes. And it obviously was not good. Now, as you can see from this picture, the first procedure didn't work like they'd hoped. And that is the reason for my first surgery. My first surgery, like I mentioned before, I had done when I was 4. And what they did was just put plates and screws in my hips because I wasn't growing right. My hips were actually, coming out of the socket. The point of this surgery, besides fixing my hips, was to lengthen my hamstrings and heel cords to help with the tightness of my muscles. And they put me in a body cast for 8 weeks. I'm not wearing a diaper in the picture. My mother and my aunts improvised clothing for me because, it's hard to fit clothing over body cast. Now, the body cast actually, it went from under the armpits all the way down to my toes with a bar in between for stabilization, I suppose. Except for the hole for a Heimlich maneuver and for doing my business. After 8 weeks in the body cast, they downgraded me to leg cast, which is they cut me out of the body cast with the saw and put me in leg cast because I was still healing. My next surgery I had when I was 5 years old. They removed the plates and screws in my hips because I was healing on my own. And they did surgery on my abductor muscles to lengthen those because, again, my muscles were so tight. For this procedure, I was not in a cast. They bandaged me up and strapped me to an A-frame pillow, which is just so I could sleep and it would keep my legs from touching so that I could heal. And I slept like that for several months. My last procedure I had done when I was roughly 9. I had bone grafts and arches put in my feet because I was born without arches. So I had donor bone put in my feet and they built arches for me. This, when they put bone grafts in my feet and built me arches, they also put 3-inch pins in the top of my foot to hold the bone in place while I healed, which meant they put me in hip casts, casts from my hips to my feet for 8 weeks because I couldn't bear weight. My feet were healing. After the 8 weeks or so, they removed my hip casts, pulled the pins from my feet, and put me in boot casts so that I could finish healing and start to walk again. Now, going back to my last video about my equipment, here's some pictures of me with much smaller walkers with 2 wheels and crutch tips in the back. But just so you can see that they do make much smaller equipment. And my husband loves these pictures, mostly the one where I'm sitting outside waiting on the bus and I have a mane of hair apparently. I do want to mention that up until the time I turned 18 and no longer needed their services, all my surgeries, procedures, doctor's appointments were done with Shriners Hospital for Children. They're a non-profit organization. They have several hospitals around the country and even burn centers. They help children with disabilities or children in need. In fact, no child ever has to pay for anything while in their care. They don't even bill your insurance. They only file it in case they need to take you somewhere else for whatever reason. And I'd like to mention that if you're interested in the Shriners, in their programs, you can actually go to your local Shrine Club and they will be more than happy to help you. Now, to close out this video, it's just a brief history of what I've been through, my surgeries, to let you know, for any parents that have a child with a disability with cerebral palsy, that there are options out there. There's places you can go to for assistance to help improve their quality of life.